Yeah, so I'm still sitting in the dark. Basically, the whole of Pretoria and surrounds is out of electricity. There's no electricity. Something big has gone wrong with one of our substations, the massive substations. So yeah, I'm sitting here with a torch in my face and doing this because I have time now and I have a couple of things I would like to say. So I'd like to talk about divorce tonight. Um, a topic that's, it's not something that most people want to talk about. Divorce. Who wants to talk about divorce, really? When people bring up the word divorce, you generally get the reaction of ooh, you would, ouch. Let's not go down this road. This is a bad road. But the reality of the matter is that like more than half of people are getting divorced, and Christians aren't making any difference to the statistic. Christians are not making any difference to the statistic. Christians are actually the only ones that have like half a chance of having a successful marriage, if you think about it. Because at the end of the day, God instituted marriage. God's will is for a man and a woman to come together and to get married and to live together in a monogamous relationship with one another. One man, one woman living together and sharing their lives together and having potentially a family together and raising children in the knowledge of the Lord. I mean, that's God's will. It's one of one of the things that is instituted, and He instituted from the beginning of time, from the beginning of creation. So, sorry guys, I still got to find out how to get the torch in the right angle to the camera. But yeah, like I said, all a work in progress. So we'll get better and better at this as time goes by. But divorce is not something that escapes Christians. It just doesn't escape them. Okay, the devil is everywhere, and the devil is attacking Christians the most. He's not worried about people in the pubs and the clubs and the strip clubs and in the bars and anywhere else really. He's busy trying to trip up the Christians. He's very active in the church. The devil, you'll find him there, usually dressed in sheep's clothing. And the devil hates marriage. One thing I can tell you as a Christian, and as a Christian now that's been married twice, and has his second marriage on the rocks. One thing I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt is the devil hates marriage. The devil hates marriages. The devil hates the union between a husband and a wife. He hates it. Okay. I don't know why he hates it so much, but it's probably because God instituted it and because God sees it as such an important thing. But he truly, really and truly, Satan hates marriage, and he will attack it with a vengeance from every angle. And if you as a marriage couple and as a Christian do not see this, if you do not think that the devil is not out there to destroy what you have with your wife, then you're a fool. Then you're a fool, because the devil will do whatever he can, however he can, in any way that he can. He'll use any avenue, any resource, any angle, anything that the devil can possibly throw at your marriage in any way. He will do. He will do his utmost to destroy your marriage. I guarantee it. You will see it in your own marriage. Go for it. Just check me out on this. You can go and try and prove me wrong, but you will not be able to prove me wrong. This devil will try to destroy your marriage with a vengeance. He hates it. He absolutely hates marriage. So it would be best for you to marry a woman that believes, is a true believer, because only if your wife is a true believer does she stand some sort of chance of warding off and defending off your relationship from Satan. No marriage is easy. All marriages get challenged, and all marriages get faced with all sorts of difficulties and challenges and stresses and strains and lack and loss. And I mean, you know what life's like. You know what life's like. Life will throw all sorts of interesting curveballs at you. But if your wife is not a believer, she's not going to be able to withstand the constant onslaught from Satan on your marriage. He's going to trip her up in one way or another. He's going to trip you up in one way or another. It will be a host of things he's going to throw at you. And you know the obvious things like an affair with a pretty woman that you met at work because your wife is at the moment treating you really badly according to your point of view, and she's grumpy and she's not giving you sex and she's not giving you any affection and any love, and treats you like you are the worst human being that ever walked the planet. Those are the obvious, things. The lack of affection, the lack of sort of intimate time together, the lack of warmth, the lack of the good stuff that you experienced in the beginning of your relationship, the beginning of your marriage, all the hearts and fluffy and the heartwarming sort of lovey-dovey stuff, the romantic nights out, the romantic getaway weekends and holidays, the Valentine's dinners and the Valentine's gifts, and all that stuff is the obvious stuff. How he catches you out, You're like, what happened to us? What happened to us? What happened to us? Well, why don't we experience these dates and these things and all that kind of stuff anymore? That's the easy, man. That's the sort of obvious things that he's going to try and catch you up with. But the not so easy, the not so fantastic, obvious stuff is going to be the slow degradation of things, like not spending enough time with one another, the constantly getting into disagreements with one another, the not wanting to be with one another, the not wanting to sacrifice 2 hours to watch some sports with your wife. She loves it, but you couldn't care less. Or you want to take a walk around the block, but your wife doesn't. You want to go and see this movie, but your wife doesn't. She wants to do, I don't know, go and see this museum or read this book together or whatever, but you're just not in the mood. Those small things are actually more harmful than the big things, like someone coming into the relationship and having an affair, or someone trying to sway you off your path with your wife, like having an affair with somebody. That's like so easy and it's so obvious. It's like the devil, like 101. But it's the small things that actually catch you out, not wanting to wash the dishes for your wife not wanting to make you a nice supper every now and then, or your wife spending too much time on her phone, or you spending too much time in front of the TV watching some nonsense sports, or whatever it is that you find fascinating on TV, or you playing computer games, or she's more interested in reading crime novels than having a chat with you. There's so many little tiny teeny weird little reasons why couples start diverting their attention to things that don't really matter. And those teeny tiny little things, those teeny tiny little faux pas, those teeny tiny little things that seem so innocent and seem so, it's just me having a little bit of time for myself. That's what kills your marriage at the end of the day. And that's the devil. That's the devil. You can call it what you want, but at the end of the day, it's him. And if my father, who's a pastor, or was a pastor anyway, he's no longer with us. He was a pastor, and he knew the Bible like the back of his hand, and he knew the truth, and that's why I know the truth, and that's why I'm saved today, and that is why I can sit here and talk about these things. It's because he knew the truth, and I knew the truth. And my father knew the truth, and I know the truth. And my father crashed and burned his marriage, and I crashed and burned two of mine. You can go and argue whether it's my fault or not, or whether it was my dad's fault or not, or whether it was my mom's fault or not, or whatever the case may be. But it's never that simple. But one thing I can tell you, one of the number one things that will kill your marriage, and that the devil uses to kill a marriage, is selfishness. You get to the point where this is more important to me than my wife. This is more interesting to me than my wife. This is more exciting to me than my wife. This is more comforting to me than my wife. This is more enjoyable than my wife. This is more fulfilling than my wife. This is more entertaining than my wife. And selfishness is a big problem, and you know how easy it is for the average human being, Christian or not, to succumb to selfishness. I mean, that's our default setting. Selfishness is our default setting, and whether you're a Christian or not, your default setting is selfishness. Only if you sort of, how can I say, realize from a long sort of fulfilling session of instruction in the word of the Lord that selfishness is something that might destroy you, then maybe you'll have a little bit of resistance to it. But you and I all have to deal with selfishness every single day of our lives. And when we start putting ourselves above our partners, that is the beginning of the end, guys. That's the beginning of the end. When we think that the TV is more interesting than our wives, or whatever's going on in our cell phones are more interesting than our wives, or whether we find our children more important and fascinating than our wives, whatever it is, you can just go and fill in the gap there. Whatever you put in front of your wife or your husband, or whatever the case may be, and find more interesting and devote more time to and enjoy more than your wife, that is the devil, and that is what he's going to use to destroy a marriage. And you might go, I don't care if my marriage gets destroyed, it's so draining and so boring and so pathetic and so it's just pulling me down. Well, I don't care anymore. I'm gonna play my games. I'm gonna stare at my phone. I'm gonna do whatever it is that I want to do with my boys, my boyfriends, my guys, my guy friends. Or your wife says no, she's sure rather spend time with her girlfriends, doing whatever they do at malls and coffee shops and whatever it is. Once you fall into that trap, then it's the beginning of the end. Because once you start putting yourself above your partner, and once you start prioritizing yourself above your partner, then it's just a question of time. Then it ain't long. Then it's not going to be forever, because then the beginning has begun. Selfishness, man. Selfishness is a big problem. And the thing is with marriage requires a fair amount of selflessness. And selflessness is only something you can really grasp and really do and really apply properly when you fully understand the Word of God and Christ and what He's done for us. So without Christ, without the Word of the Lord, and without understanding that properly, you will easily fall into that whole selfishness, because selflessness is difficult. Selflessness is sacrificial. Selflessness means you have to give up a lot of what you would enjoy, what you think is important, what you think is lacquer, what you would rather do, what you would rather watch, what you would rather be doing. And if you can't switch off your selfishness with a fair amount of selflessness, whether it be you as the husband or whether it be her as the wife, then the devil's got you. He's got you. He's got you sorted, man. He's already basically begun the beginning of the end. Selfishness will kill your marriage in one form or another. And you know what? The devil will make you believe that what you're doing is the right thing. You'll be so convinced, so set that what it is that's happening now and what you're doing and the path that you're going down to basically terminate your own marriage will be what I should be doing, what I deserve, what I should have gotten in the long run. And you'll basically turn your partner, your wife, your husband or whatever into the biggest demon on earth. You'll become the worst person you've ever come across on this planet, from the perception that you will have by just simply focusing on yourself. And it'll make it easy for you. It'll actually make it easy for you. The easiest thing. You'll desire it so badly to jettison your other half, the thing that God has put you together with, the thing that God has smelted you with on a spiritual level. You'll be only too happy to launch that person that you love deeply and sincerely and truly, like you've never loved anyone before. You'll be glad to launch them into oblivion, and you'll feel justified, and you'll feel good, and you feel fantastic about sending them off into the darkness, and you going to live your own happy, selfish, joyous life, totally liberated from that person. But it won't take you long. It won't take you long. When everything is beyond recovery and beyond repair and beyond redemption, to realize that you made a mistake. A big one. A massive one. And usually by the time you realize that you've made the big mistake, it's irrecoverable. It's beyond repair. It's beyond fixing. So yeah, divorce. No Christian, no unbeliever, nobody on this planet is immune to divorce. I don't care if you're the Pope. I don't care if you're the greatest pastor in the universe. I don't care if you're the most devout believer. I don't care if you're the most devout woman on the earth. You will be greatly susceptible to having the devil sabotage your marriage, because the devil hates marriage. And if you think anything other than that, then you're a fool and you're already set up for failure. Be assured and go walk into a marriage and a relationship like that with full eyes open, realizing that you have now created and become part of and entered into a relationship that Satan hates, absolutely hates. It's something sacred. It's something that the Lord put into place to symbolize his relationship with us as fallen people. The bride and the bridegroom, that whole part in scripture, you guys know it if you know anything about scripture. He's going to take it out, man. He's going to take it out to the best of his ability. He's going to attack you with fire. He's going to try and destroy you in all sorts of wonderful, interesting ways. And if you sit there with, one eye open and the other one closed, you're dead meat already. And selfishness, the self is the biggest enemy that you have, and the biggest thing that the Satan will use against your marriage. So go into a marriage, great stuff. Whether you're a believer, unbeliever, especially if you're a believer though, the devil's going to attack you ferociously. Be prepared, be forewarned. Find your ways and means of trying to protect yourself against it. But one of the things that you both, as marriage couples, need to seriously go and check yourselves with on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, is, am I putting myself first? Or am I putting this other person first? Yes, there is a place for being a unique individual. There's a place for doing your own thing. There's a place for having your own needs and desires and interests and so forth. But when you start putting yourself on a pedestal, when you start putting yourself above your partner, and you start dwelling in yourself, just know, the devil's got you right where he wants you. So please, as a believer, as a Christian, as somebody that is a follower of Christ, don't think you're immune to divorce. Don't think you're protected. Don't think you are going to be able to do whatever it is that you want in your marriage and live like you want and do what you want, and that you're going to be immune to having your relationship terminated in the most terrible, pathetic, tragic ways. Guard yourself. Guard yourselves. And that is why it's best to always marry a believer. Marry a believer. A true believer. Not some Mickey Mouse. I'm a nominal. Yeah, I believe in God, kind of, sort of, kind of thing. If you are both true believers, you have half a chance of having a successful marriage. Half a chance. But even then, you will be attacked with fire from the evil one. And you need to guard against it. You need to have your eyes open constantly. And you need to see where he is trying to attack you. And you and your wife need to be on the same page at all times, waiting and being awake about when he's going to try to attack you. Because I promise you, he's going to attack you. And if you're sleeping in any way, then you're going to be in for a world of hurt. And that's just what the devil wants. Be eyes wide open. Divorce. You as a Christian couple, you are not immune to divorce.